I have been using the 15 to 35 RF 2.8 for the last 3 years professionally, 5 days a week, and I have thoroughly enjoyed this. But guess what? I bought this before the 14 to 35 was ever announced and released. So after that was released, I've always thought an extra millimeter. That sounds so good, especially since I shoot at f8 anyways. So yes, I purchased the 14 to 35 f4. I'm going to unbox it right now. We are going to bring it out into the field. I have a shoot in a little bit, so I'm going to bring it there. I'm going to show you some of that footage that I'm going to do, some of the photos, and we're going to look at the ibis outside. So no intro today. We just got to get to it. There's a lot to get to this first half day with this lens. There's going to be many more days with this lens. I'm going to be comparing this lens with this lens in a further later video, if that is something I can even say. Let's do it. It was empty, don't worry about it. So this is going to be a pretty simple unboxing. This is the Canon RF 14 to 35 millimeter f4 LIS USM. What a mouthful for these, right? So let's just get to it. It is a pretty clean box. You know, this thing wasn't bounced around too much like some of them are, but let's just start unboxing this. And you got your warranty information. You've got your little case right there. Lens hood, right? And here for the lens, okay. You don't know this, but the 15 to 35 is on the Canon R7 facing straight down. But the closest thing to compare would be this guy. This is the 24 to 70 f2.8, and they're about the same size, same filter size as the 15 to 35. And so this would be the best comparison with weight and look. And holy cow, is this 14 to 35 a lot lighter. Now again, 24 to 70, but the 24 to 70 and the 15 to 35 2.8 are about the same size and the same weight and same filter. And so this is a 77 millimeter filter. This is a 82. And so you can tell right there that it's a decent difference in size. 15 millimeters to 14 millimeters does make a big difference when it comes to the wide angle, so don't be mistaken. So right there alone, you can tell there's a big difference in size. Again, when you are doing those video walkthroughs or you're going from house to house, in my case, doing the photos and the video walkthrough, it does make a big difference. Right now we are at about 21, 22 millimeters, and then that brings it flush. If I go to 14, it sticks out a little bit. If you go to 35, it sticks out. Comes in at about 22. You've got the image stabilization right here, and you've got the autofocus manual, and your control ring, which honestly I don't use a whole lot, and if I do, it's usually for ISO, but that's it. And then your focus ring, and then this is smooth. I mean, actually, I wasn't sure what I was going to think about because I'm used to going to 15 millimeter, it sticks out a lot, and then going to 35, and then it comes all the way in when I put away my 15 to 35. But for this one, it doesn't really bother me a whole lot. And if I leave it out to 35 or if I bring it into 14, it still doesn't stick out a whole lot. Now, obviously, the 24 to 70 does stick out further than the 15 to 35, but I would say the 15 to 35 does come out to about here still, which is a decent amount. Boy, is this thing light. Now, obviously, it's an f4, not a 2.8, but it doesn't really bother me a whole lot because I am shooting at f8 when I'm doing architectural photography, and I'm shooting at f4 when it comes to video walkthroughs. But a lot of the times when I'm outside, I'm still shooting at about f8 to f11. When it comes to wide angle, you don't want that shallow depth of field. You want to see everything in focus, and that's really where that 14 millimeter is going to come in. Now, you can get some shallow depth of field, bring it into about 24 to 35 at f4, and you're going to get some awesome shots. I have the R6 Mark II right here, and yeah, it's definitely lighter. It's more back heavy now, where the 15 to 35 made it a lot front heavy. This feels really good, and obviously the price, and it doesn't stick out as far as the 15 to 35, and that is what it looks like on the Canon R6 Mark II. It is pretty small, pretty light. You could walk around and do some street photography, bring this on a trip, and it is not bad for a full frame setup. Vlog test without using any kind of IBIS at all, so no in-body stabilization or on the lens, and this is what that is like. So here's handheld, just so you have an idea. And then here is the image stabilization. So kind of walking around. Is there some jello up there? Maybe, maybe not. It is a lot lighter than the 15 to 35 by a lot. Now I am at f4 1/50th at 24 frames per second. ISO 500, not shooting log. Wanted to make this simple. Let's do this here. So there's handheld, and I'm gonna hold it exactly the same and take off image stabilization. And that's what that looks like, holding it, and turn it back on. And that is what it is like. Now I'm actually gonna switch to the digital IS on top of the image stabilization, so it is gonna crop in a little bit. I will keep my arm extended about the same. Now it is digital IS. It is the normal, not the extra, or whatever that setting is. It's the normal digital IS on top of the IS. It would have cropped in a little bit. From my guessing, I would say it is probably going from a 14 millimeter cropping into about a 15 to 16 millimeter, which is still really wide. So this should be super wide. So if you're vlogging with digital IS, this is what that is like. So kind of doing a little vlog test, walking around. Now, obviously I am a little bit wobbly. Okay, so that is the enhanced digital IS. My arm is extended. I'm wobbling quite a bit, trying to hold it. Again, a lot lighter than the 15 to 35, so I actually could do this a lot longer. But this is the cropped in. Do you notice a difference? Leave a comment below. If you do, I'm gonna walk around with this one. By the way, this is like a super warm day for November. We got up to about 60 degrees. It'll be about 60 tomorrow, 60 on Friday. Then it's gonna drop into the 40s, possibly even the 30s, so you gotta enjoy this. Again, ultra wide, but we're in the digital IS enhanced mode. I am now gonna switch over to the regular IS off the lens and get out of the digital. Just the image stabilization, no digital image stabilization at all. It is later now, so it is darker. I upped the ISO to 2500, f4 1/50th, and auto white balance right now. So this gives you an idea of what the image stabilization is on this lens. All by itself without it using any kind of image stabilization digitally. And for the Canon R6 Mark II, this gives you an idea of what 2500 ISO looks like at night. Here, let's up it to 32. 32 a lot of the times will get cleaner. This is 3200 ISO, so not necessarily an ISO test, but ISO test, right? I love the lightness of this lens. First day with it, I have to do more tests. The 15 to 35 versus this will be a video. So you may want to subscribe if you haven't already, because that video will determine which one is the best one for real estate photography and for video. Here are a few clips I did today with the 14 to 35 at a video walkthrough. And here you're going to see a little bit of flare coming through. It handles it pretty good. Also, this was done in 10-bit log, so the dynamic range on this is good. The lens shows very well. Interior video done at 60 frames per second, down to 24, so 40% slowing down. And then check out the lights right there. The flare off of it actually looks pretty good. Okay, I wanted to bring you into Lightroom. So when I bring these photos into Lightroom, this is the raw copy right here, and it looks pretty good. 14 millimeters looks pretty nice right here, but guess what? This isn't the raw footage. When you bring it into Lightroom, Lightroom automatically corrects it right over here. We'll make it a little bigger there. The enable profile correction. So it knows it's the 14 to 35. But if you uncheck this, watch. Boom. Look at that. Look at the vignetting right there. The vignetting right there. And right in these corners too. So quite a bit. This, you can get over that. You can crop it a little bit. Check out the gap between the tree and the edge of the frame right here. And I'm gonna, boom, it just gets rid of that gap. So there's a lot of pixels that are not getting hit. Now, I know a lot of people are complaining and they're saying that this thing is going from 14 millimeters to 15 or 16. No, it is not. It is going from like 12 or 13 to 14. This is like a 12 millimeter. So really, you're actually getting like a 12 to 13 millimeter lens, and then it is correcting and bringing it closer to that 14. So it is then 14 millimeters. You are not losing frame, you are actually losing some pixels, but honestly, that doesn't bother me at all because I'm shooting 4K. I'm also downsampling my 24 megapixels down to about 10 megapixels anyways in post. So losing those megapixels doesn't bother me. May bother you, doesn't bother me. But again, look at that difference. I actually probably would use this in a lot of cases. Do you know what the best part about this lens is? I didn't even tell you this. I waited to the very end of the video for you elite people that are actually watching right now. I went in to buy this lens for $1,500 at Best Buy, but they had a sale to $1,200. So I went in expecting to spend $1,200 on this lens, which I think is actually pretty good. Went in, I'm a total member. Also, I was using the Best Buy credit card, which I do pay off right away. I do not recommend ever using credit cards unless you can pay it off immediately. If you don't have that kind of discipline, don't do credit, just pay cash. So anyways, went to go do it, and it was $850. That's it. I don't know why it was $850. You go to Best Buy's website, still $1,200, but I was charged $850. I asked if that was a mistake. I didn't want to ask them that, but I did. I said, are you sure it's $850? And he said something about being on clearance. I don't know if he knew what he was talking about. All I know is I got this lens, a $1,500 lens that was on sale for $1,200. I got it for $850 at Best Buy. I have no idea how that works. This lens is definitely worth it. If you can get it for $850 at Best Buy, I don't know if it's because I'm a total member, a total with a Best Buy credit card. I don't know if there was some kind of Black Friday deal month thing going on right now. But if you can get that deal, you have to jump on it. If you can't get that deal, there's still some really good deals on Amazon. I have the link below for that. Check out those links. Otherwise, try to get it at Best Buy if you can. This was a lot of information to jam in only a half day of use. So obviously I have to use this a little bit more. I want to do comparisons with the 15 to 35. And if I can get my hands on a 10 to 20 in the future, I would love to compare it with that as well. But I think between these two, there's going to be a lot of testing going on, especially if you're like me, you're in real estate or architectural photography. You want to know what is the best route to go. If you don't need 2.8, then I'm pretty sure the f4 is going to be the way to go for you. For video, you don't have to worry about vignetting because it automatically corrects within the camera and you don't lose pixels. It is a 4K image. We'll do some gimbal testing, but this actually balances really, really well on my Zoom Crane 2. I haven't been disappointed. I had to rebalance, and after I did that, it was just so light to walk around the house with this. Also, 77mm thread in the front is cheaper and easier to find than an 82mm. So that is a plus as well. If you go to buy this at Best Buy and you get this deal for $850, let me know in the comments below because I feel like it was a fluke. I feel like it was an accident. And if it wasn't, I feel like I need to buy a couple more just for fun. If you are interested on how it compares to the 15-35, please subscribe, like this video. I will see you in the next video, which is going to be a fun video too. They all are. They're great. No worries, there's always more videos of me to watch. Don't be so sad, especially if you're new. There's a lot of binging over there. You'll like it.